I'm Leanne Tran, psychologist who's worked with families whose kids don't fit the mould for almost 20 years. I've worked with children for decades, but I know parents are the real change makers when it comes to their kids. Having 3 kids of my own means I know it's not easy. Parent Like a Psychologist is all about simplifying how you support your kids with psychology information filtered through years of experience to take you from overwhelmed to confident. Come on in. Welcome to another episode of Parent Like a Psychologist. So excited to have you here with me. And I've just been checking the statistics for the podcast and found it's almost hit 3,000 downloads over the year or more that it's been going. And that's an amazing figure for me to think about. 3,000 times somebody's listened to some information about raising kids, particularly neurodivergent kids, and has potentially learned something a little bit, learned a little something or changed the way they think about something to make a difference in how they raising their kids. And so that's such an amazing thing that you've all been doing for your beautiful kids out there. It's a new year now. Welcome to 2025. I've got lots of things planned for the year, but am still in the thick of school holidays here in Queensland, as I'm sure, all Australians still are. January is a time when Chaos to Calm launches again. That's the program where I take parents through a lot of the foundations about how to, use the information that we have about what kids need in order to thrive and how to manage behavior well so that your kids are doing what you'd like for them to do and learning things and in a really calm and sustainable way, and that you feel calm as well as a parent. Um, so if you're interested in that and you're listening to this, you don't have long to get onto the wait list. You can do that through the website. Um, 14th of January is when it will launch. And so I've just wrapped up the October last year session, which was really amazing. And I just love so much working with parents to change how they think about things and learn to do things in a way that's maybe going to help them out a lot and help them understand their child more importantly. So January is the time for that. Then after that, looking over at my calendar, will be April, July, and then October again. So it kind of fits in with the school terms there because obviously holidays are when we all try to chill and relax and spend time with our kids, or if we can't, at the very least it's time when all the routines are out, so it's a bit hard to commit to something extra. I wanted to so Chaos to Calm is what I'm thinking about because that's the program name, but today I'm talking about Chaos to Connection, which is really about thinking about how to build that parent-child bond. And that's been on my mind a lot over the holidays. I really enjoy school holidays because I love the opportunity to spend more time with my kids and have everybody a little bit more relaxed when there's no school. And so we have time to um, do different things together. And yeah, I really enjoy it. And that's what this episode is going to be centered around, I guess, how to um, try and bring that connection we have in the good times into the times when things aren't going so well. Next episode is more kind of on how to manage it yourself as a parent when you're not feeling calm. But today it's about how to try to bring the connection into those times when things are going pear-shaped. Um, so I want to talk about how to understand the parent-child bond in those challenging moments, how you can create some safety in your relationships with your kids, and then some daily practices for stronger connections. I talk a lot in Chaos to Come and in most of my work with parents about how it's those preventive things that are going to have the biggest impact on your family life and your child than rather than what you do in the moment. So this is a lot about preparing today. So first of all, let's talk about how to understand the bond you and your kids have in those challenging moments. Why does that bond matter is the first point. And for all children, having a good bond with their parent, which is what we call attachment, is a way to promote really healthy development. It's what lets a child know that they are safe and secure, and it's not until they have those needs met, feeling safe and feeling secure, that they can go on to do other things like learn and explore and play and solve problems. So it's really the basics, the essentials that all kids need. But why it's more important, I think, in kids who are neurodivergent, so kids with ADHD or autism, is that there is, without going too negative, but those kids have a different path ahead of them. Life is a little bit harder when you don't fit the mold, and so there are more chances or a higher likelihood that kids might have difficulties with things like mental health challenges like anxiety and depression, potentially when they're teenagers. But anxiety is so common, and anything we can do to strengthen that bond not only sets them up to develop well and have a healthy life, but it can protect kids from those other challenges that might come along. Or when the challenges do come and your child does get anxious, they feel they're in a little bit of a better place to be able to handle those challenges. So it's extra important for neurodivergent kids. The other thing to mention is that a good attachment and bond with a caregiver really reduces challenging behavior as well. It's why we always talk about connecting first before correcting the behavior. And the relationship is really what gives kids the reason to want to do what we say, to listen to our guidance, and all of that kind of thing. So it's not only really good for them, but it's good for you in that if they have that strong bond, you're not going to get as many challenging behaviors. Don't, though, misinterpret that to mean if your child has challenging behaviors, then they don't have a good connection. That's not the case. It just means that um, the stronger the relationship is, the better the behavior is. So there are some signs of disconnection, and these are the things that you can watch out for if to let you know your child doesn't really have that strong of a bond with you. Some of the things might be that your child's kind of feeling disconnected from you, I guess. Maybe you have a gut feeling that you don't really have that kind of strong relationship with your kids. Sometimes that gut feeling is right. But there are some behaviors that you might see them do that will let you know. And some of those things are like tantrums. And tantrum is different to a meltdown in that tantrums are kind of they serve a purpose. It's not actual overwhelm that's causing kids to melt down. They are acting out to achieve some kind of goal, whether it's to get what they want or have your attention or something else, some other underlying need. But tantrums are a sign that maybe working on that bond could be helpful because if that bond was strong, it is strong, and your children have the skills, they can come to you to talk about what they need rather than use behavior to communicate it for them. The other things could be defiance as well, just generally not wanting to do what you say. Often that's a bit of a power play there. And so sometimes that's because kids don't feel that genuine strength in connection with you. And the other thing could be withdrawal as well. If they don't want to talk to you or come to you when there's difficulties, that can indicate that they don't feel that bond is strong enough to withstand that. There are some things that you can do in the moment to try to shift this. And so some ideas are really, it's about trying to respond rather than react in situations when um, there's problem behavior or you're having difficulties with your child. The first thing, I guess, is to prioritize that connection. Like I said before connection before correction. So that means in the moment, it's things like offering physical comfort or kind words or gestures first before trying to correct the behavior or talk about what the issue is. So it's using calm language and physical closeness to show your child that you care, listening to their opinions and that kind of thing before then trying to address the challenges. You can do other things when that are more preventive as well to create safety in relationships. So this is more those proactive strategies. You can build predictability and trust by um, doing things like routines and being really consistent in your responses. And that really creates that foundation of safety. Kids like to know that we are predictable, that they can understand how we'll react in certain situations. So, trying to follow routines of how things are done. So, for example, you know, I guess it's throughout the day, how the mornings generally run, the night times, how they run, so that kids know kind of generally what to expect. An example there is, bedtimes, not necessarily sticking to it by the minute, but you don't want to have a child not know if bedtime's going to be 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock because they can't really regulate within that. Um, so predictability on your part lets your child know that they can rely on you. Another thing you can do is use nonverbal communication. And this be really mindful of this because it's a way that can convey your love for your child really is, and that's how you create that safety is by conveying to your child that you love them and that they are safe. So things like having a calm tone of voice, but friendly as well, your posture and facial expressions. You try to really show that love and acceptance and calmness so that they know you are a person that they can come to. The other thing you can do is, oh, sorry, I wanted to mention too, because that can if you use that kind of thing most of the time, that's great. You will have times when you don't, and that's okay. It's just trying your best to do it. But if your child's having problem behaviors, it can really de-escalate the situation as well. If you come across as quite calm and understanding and safe, if you come across as angry as well, that can escalate the situation. Um, and if your child feels like you don't understand and you're just getting angry, they get more angry and you get angrier, and that's how things kind of escalate to the point of blowing up. Again, sometimes you'll make mistakes and that's okay. You can do repair. That's a very psychology term. It really means making up. So after you've had a disagreement, you can, or you've acted in a way that's been not not aligned with the best self or the idea you have of yourself, which is my nice psychology code way of putting it when you've just lost it and maybe you've yelled or said something you regretted and you look really angry and that kind of stuff. Um, you can apologize and reconnect after those moments. That's especially important for kids who have trouble processing emotions as well. Wait till everyone's really calm before you do that, and then you can talk it through. So we've talked a little bit about why this bond and relationship matters. especially in those challenging moments. We've talked about how you can create some safety in relationships, but now I want to talk about some practical daily things that you can do to have stronger connections, because I think well, most people know that you need to be calm and show love to your children, but it's sometimes something that's difficult to integrate into how we run our everyday lives and how we do our parenting. So there's three quick tips here that you can use to actually practice this. The first one is having micro moments of connection. This is really micro is to me, when I hear micro, I think very small. And that's true. It doesn't have to be a big time that we connect with our children, like doing something that takes hours that you can only do on the weekend. It doesn't even really need to be something that takes half an hour or 15 minutes, because sometimes in our days it's hard to find that as well, particularly if you've got multiple children. And if you're trying to spend half an hour of quality time every day with them and you've got three, that's an hour and a half you're adding to your routine. That's really tricky. Um, so I think just think about those small little moments. I am pretty sure in the Chaos to Calm program, I talk about it like to think back when your child was a baby and you would maybe use little moments like every time you had to change their nappy to do that connection. So you kind of look at in your child's eyes and smile, and you know, they're going goo goo gaga, and you're kind of doing the same because you're this blissed out, in love parent of a newborn. Um, but it's a great analogy for how to just bring some of that connection into an everyday task. So there are some ideas for rituals or little things you can do each day. One of them is to maybe do a bedtime story. You could do that every night, or you could have a different routine. It doesn't have to be the book, something else that you do each evening with them. It can be something that you do every morning, like making sure you seek out your child to say good morning and give them a high five if they don't like hugs, or give them a hug. Maybe it's something you say or do before they leave for school every morning. Maybe that's the high five, or, have a great day. You might have a particular saying for each child. Um, you could also think about doing something that's silly or funny. So maybe is there a joke you can tell at dinner or something like that. So just think about the times when you're already doing something every day. Can you just add in a little bit of a connection activity there so that it builds the relationship with your child? If you have more time, then a great way to connect is to do child-led play. This is really where you let your child choose an activity and let them lead you in it. So even just for 10 minutes a day. The reason that we let kids choose is because then it doesn't feel like a chore for them. They are actually doing something that they like and enjoy. So they enjoy doing it. But the second reason is that we are coming in to their world and their interests, and we're showing them that, who they are and is interesting. What they like is interesting. And so they get that validation because we are joining them in something that they like and they find important. I've noticed this works a lot with my teenage boy. Um, so that's the thing. It can be right from when kids are little, right through into the teenage years. Um, and I never did gaming when I was young. I don't know if it was just my family or because I'm grew up in a different age. Whereas he likes to do that. And so now often if I come down and sit next to him as he's doing it, he'll show me, and then, he'll say, "You want to play, mum?" And I think, no, actually, but I will say yes anyway, because um, it's just by coming and showing an interest and that kind of thing, it's opened up that connection and that, um, he's inviting me into his world as well by saying, "Do you want to play with me?" Because it's something he really enjoys, finds interesting and fun, enjoys teaching me about it, as so many neurodivergent kids do as well. Like, if your child has Pokemon, just, if they like Pokemon, say, teach me about this. Like, who's, better in this fight or that fight? And kids will love the opportunity to tell you all about it. So that's following what your child wants to do is another really great way to do it. And then celebrating strengths is my last idea. Um, Focusing on what our kids do well strengthens the relationship, much in the same way that following what they like to play does. I think it's acknowledging that you see them and their strengths and that they are working hard on things, and are good at things and achieving things it's really affirming to them as people. We all like people to notice the things that we do well, um, and acknowledging that it feels really good. So that's another thing that you can do a lot of, I was going to say a lot of the day. You really can do that more than once if you think about trying to make sure that you notice one of your child's strengths and comment on it at least once a day. That's a really good thing to be able to do as well. So we've talked a bit today about those are some practical things that you can build into your daily routine to try and have a strong relationship with your kids. We talked about the ways that we can approach our kids to build that safety, but also how to understand what kids need in those challenging moments. Um, Really hoping that there's some little pieces that are useful and helpful for you in there. And the next episode is where to go if you want to talk about, if you want to listen, I guess, rather than talk, but if you want to hear about how to try and stay calm so that you can do all of this stuff, because school holidays are fun and enjoyable, but they are not easy. And so there have been some times when I've had to do some of this work as well to try to keep calm and cool so that I can do all this connection stuff that I'm trying to do. Yeah. So thanks again for joining me today. And I really hope to hear, that you can join in next time as well. I'd also love to hear from you if you've got ideas about what podcast episodes you'd like to hear. And yeah, I'm sure you are not alone. If you've got a question, other people will have a question too. So reach out, and that will, help me make sure that the information is aligned to what you need. Thanks for listening to this episode of Parent Like a Psychologist. If you found it helpful, please share on Instagram so other parents can benefit too, and tag me at Leanne Tran Psychology so that I can say a big thank you. Head over to leannetran.com.au to join the village for bite-sized psychology tips straight to your inbox. I really hope this podcast has brought a new perspective and you a step closer towards a calm parent and a thriving child. Have a delightful day.